Thank you for returning to King's Legacy Group. Again, I am NECA, your narrator and owner of King's Legacy Group. You are about to view additional parts to the topic indicated on the first slide. Thank you again for returning to complete the learning process of information that is vital and relevant to your financial journey. So enjoy. This is the short disclaimer you have already read and was narrated on the original slide of this presentation topic. Therefore, please read again at your leisure for the additional slides you are about to view. Understanding utilization. Now, like I told y'all before, this presentation was going to be long because I don't give partial information. I'm not going to tease you with information and pull you in for something else. This is just a little insight on how a master class would be. And this is just for the personal credit. I ain't even got to the other stuff. So you can just imagine how much detailed information that I'll be providing in a master class at a reasonable cost. But you get all this information for free. And you see how many slides we've done so far. Right now we're on 47. I didn't leave anything out. The only reason that I was delayed in sharing this presentation today, as opposed to Wednesday when I intended to post it, because I was still having issues with the new computer. So that was a headache. And then I was waiting on my son to bring back my software disk so that I can install it on the new computer, because the new computer doesn't even have Microsoft on it. I'm like, really, people? So yes, that held me up. Other than that, it would have been posted Wednesday night. But anyway, moving on. Usage and utilization. Let's get some understanding, please, about this. What is card utilization? This refers to how much of your available credit you use at any given time. You can figure out your credit utilization rate by dividing your total credit card balances by your total credit card limits. Do not pay your balance in full 100% every month before the due date. And I'm going to explain how it works. Whatever your limit is on your credit card, you can use that every month. Never exceed it. Your usage and your utilization are only important and reported at the time of your due date. The key is to pay the balance off minus 10 to 20% at least 5 days before the due date to allow time for your payment to post on time. The reason I say leave 10% to 20% every month, because the credit card company needs to get interest paid to them. They're in business to, this is how they collect their money. This is how they are in business. You can't expect a business to loan you money in advance and not make anything off of it. If that's the case, why would they need you? And for someone who has a history of bad credit, and you're trying to reestablish, and for someone who has no credit history, this is the best strategy for you to start off to boost your credit score by leaving 20% or less to roll over after your due date. But after 6 months, you don't have to keep doing that. You put in enough time to establish your credit worthiness and ability to manage your bill. So in 6 months, I'm going to be switching over and paying 100% of my balance 5 days before the bill due date. Again, this is not for everybody. It depends on your circumstances. And if your circumstances are similar to mine, this is the first best strategy. Okay? A company needs to get interest paid on them. I know some of y'all saying that's crazy, but really sit down and think about what I'm saying. Remember, this is the reason of your contract with them. and the reason they are in business. This is how they get money, to be in business, to advance you money and get interest payments from you from that. Utilization calculation. This is what it looks like. Amount of your credit used divided by amount of credit available. How much you owe divided by your credit limit. You have all the control when it comes to your money, credit, finances, and ability to achieve generational wealth. When you stick to the plan, follow the process, and execute your objectives. 5 components of your credit score. We've already been over this. The value that's placed on your credit profile, 10% for inquiries, 10% type of debt, 15% length of credit history, 30% debt to income ratio, and 35% payment history. So that's self-explanatory. Using different methods that work. This is what I was talking about. What may be for you may not be for someone else, depending on your circumstances and your credit profile and your credit score and what you are intending to do with this process of building your credit profile and score. Your choice may be different, and what your finances allow you to do will dictate which one you do. Now, yes, of course, ways to pay to maintain utilization, using different methods that work for your situation. The first one is the in full, no later than 5 days before the due date. That means pay the full balance of what you use. That's usage. Pay it 5 days before the due date. Especially follow this method if you pay your rent or car note with your credit card. If you can afford to do this for all your cards, then great, you are ahead of the game. Now, this other one, you may have heard it called 15 3-step. I don't say 3-step, I say 5-step, because 5 days prior to the due date gives you leeway and enough time for your payment to post. Because of the weekend days, and if it's a holiday, then that can affect when your payment posts to your account. So better safe than sorry. I'm renaming the 15 3-step to 15 5-step. Trademarked, NECA King, King's Legacy Group. That means pay the minimum amount or pay half of your balance 15 days prior to the due date. You pay the minimum amount or half of your balance 15 days before the due date. Okay? Then pay the remaining balance 5 days before the due date. So you're making a partial payment 15 days before and 5 days before the due date. Again, it depends on if you're able to. If you can't pay the full 100%, then break it down into 2 payments. Again, I'm saying 5, not 3, not the 15 3, because you need to consider the weekend days, or if it's a holiday for non-business day delay. And again, set up automatic bill pay. Set it and forget it. Forget it. Why did I say get it? That sounds so, yeah. Next one is the 5 before, 5 after. Now, I'm going to do another, I'm going to talk about this doing next week, Wednesday. But I'm really going to go into more detail of why I say pay 5 days before and 5 days after the due date. That method shoots your score up even, I got to explain it later. But it shoots your score up even higher with more points than paying 100% in full before the 5 business days before the due date. Reason being because, like I said, the credit card company is able to get that percentage on a low balance when you let it roll over to the after the due date. And that still keeps your utilization low. So this is what I'm doing until I transition to the paying 100% 5 days before the due date. But my credit score has increased 120 points. I want to say the end of February, but actually it'll be March, the beginning of March. So March until now, my credit score has shot up 120 some percent. 120 some points. So I know what I'm talking about. So pay 80% of usage, which is your balance, 5 days before the due date. This is what I do. Then I pay the remaining 20% balance 5 days after the due date. This strategy is good to start if you are rebuilding very bad or no credit history. And do this for 6 months. And then after that, you can do the full amount before the due date or do the 15.5 before the due date. Again, set up automatic bill pay. But this is my strategy that has been working for me, and this allows me to have available funds or to break the payments up so that I'm still paying the bill in full and I'm meeting the requirements to keep a low utilization. I put good right here where it has the $120, the 30%. That's actually supposed to be fair, not good, because you really shouldn't exceed 29%. That's the threshold for staying low. So you can see the breakdown. These two here that had this in pink that says 2 each. If you have 2 credit cards with a credit limit on both for $1,000, and between the two you have spent $797, that puts you at 79% utilization. That is way too high. That is bad. Some people initially think half and half. No, you have to combine the number of cards you have. When you have more than one card, then your utilization and your usage, your utilization is going to differ because you're adding on the amount of credit limit, and you're adding on to how much you're spending, how much you're and that makes your utilization go up. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay. Utilization ratio, that's what I just showed. Excellent is 0 to 9%. Good is 10 to 29%. Fair is 30 to 49%. And poor is 50 to 74. And very poor is 75 and above. So yes, you got to keep track of what you're doing. Just because you have these limit credit cards does not mean to just go to the limit every time. Unless you're paying your rent or a car note every month with that card, then yeah, you may be utilizing the limit. But the point is, you're going to make sure the money is there to pay it before the due date. Okay? So stay green, not red. Utilization, 30% of your credit score. This is high. This is a large percentage of your credit profile. So you got to keep these points down. You got to be aware of what you're doing and what you're spending to make sure you're on point. Your payment history is 35% of your credit score. So you got to make these payments on time. Stick to the plan. Set up automatic pay. Please set up automatic bill pay. There's no point in you being late. There's no point that you are not able to plan and budget yourself accordingly. All you gotta do is keep track and just do it and stay focused. Bad habits to avoid. Making late payments or paying 100% before the due date can cause negative results. Well, not before the due date, after the due date. You can run the risk of the company lowering your credit limit. Well, that's not okay. The reason I said the 100% before the due date, because you paying the 100% before the due date every month, depending on your credit profile. Again, one situation doesn't apply for the other. For someone who has had a history of good credit and they're in good standing, this may not happen to them. But for someone who has bad history, rebuilding their history or starting new history, this is why I said use those 6 months to do a different method so that the card company is getting something from you. Because if you didn't know, during this pandemic, even people who were in good standing with their credit cards, they got their accounts closed. So if the company don't feel that like they're getting anything out of you, or you are of no benefit to them, or you're not using your credit, they'll close your account. So again, you can run the risk of the credit card company lowering your credit limit or closing your account without any explanation. But if you're doing those things I just mentioned, you know why. Now I got to change to 30% again. So leave 10% to 29% past the due date and pay this balance off within 5 days after the due date. This is what it means to keep your utilization 10% or less. You must be responsible in using your credit card. Okay, we have reached the end of this slide. Closing statement. I hope that you found some value in the content shared today. So until next time, take care of yourselves and know that knowledge is real power when you apply it. Please remember to support our platform by clicking like, share, make a comment if you like. We would appreciate it. It only takes one time to hit subscribe on either platform. Thank you for staying with us. Be blessed.